Hi. If you are watching lesson one, how to play a game, I am so sorry because you're missing out on playing games in the classroom. I'm kind of a big believer in if you're going to write an essay on playing games, make it fun and play a game. So, going to show a really quick video of a simple game to play, just old school game, marbles. And then I'm going to show you a game with dice that you can play at home called Knockout. And then we're going to go through the essay. Okay, here we go. I'm going to share the screen. This is how to play marbles.
And mouthing stage. This is a fun, simple, easy game you can play with your kids. Today we're showing you how to play marbles. And all you need are marbles, a shooter, and some string. A shooter is a marble that's a little bit bigger, like this, than a regular marble. Welcome to the Peaceful Place. I'm Stephanie Anderson, and I show entrepreneurs screen-free ways to entertain their kids so they can get more work done from home. Subscribe to my channel and click the bell so you know when we post new videos each week. First, mark your circle. If you're playing on carpet, you'll probably need to use a string or something similar to mark off a circle. If you're playing in the dirt or in deep carpet, you can dig your finger or a stick into the ground to make a circle area. Next, drop or line up the marbles inside the circle. You can make them into lines or like a big T shape or plus shape, or you can just drop them haphazardly into the middle, whatever you prefer. Use the shooter to knock the marbles out of the circle. When it's your turn, marbles that are knocked out of the circle are yours to keep. The shooter must stay inside the circle for you to get another turn. If it goes out or if no marbles go outside the circle, then it's the next player's turn. To use the marble as the shooter, you always hit it with your thumb. You can just hit it with your thumb along the ground, or you can cradle it in your hand. The winner has the most marbles at the end of the game when they've all been knocked outside of the circle. We'd love to see what your child created.
Okay, so obviously a very, very simple game. If you've never played marbles before, you should be able to repeat that process based on that game. I think I could repeat that process just based on 2 minutes of instructions. And that's the goal of a how to process essay. So the second game we're going to play is I gave students 2 dice. So if you have 2 dice at home, if you want to go run and get them really quickly, that would be great. Or yell at mom and dad to run and get them for you really quickly. So here's what we do in this game. Okay. All it requires is each person has 2 dice. Now, you know, there are numbers 1 through 6 on both dice. So there's a certain number that's rolled more often on the dice than any other number. You want to guess what it is? That number is 7. So either a 1 and 6, a 2 and 5, or a 4 and a 3. The probability of rolling a 7 is pretty high. Okay, so in this game, it's called knockout. If you roll a 7, it knocks out your score to 0. So you're going to roll the dice 10 times. Whatever score, for example, I rolled a 3 on my first roll. So I'm going to write down 3. And well, I thought I was ready, but I'm in my husband's office at home. Hi. Found it. Okay, so that's a 3. So hopefully if you're at home, you found some dice. Second roll is a 10. Okay, I'm going to keep rolling 10 rolls. Third roll is a 4. Fourth roll is 11. You're just going to have to trust me to play fair. The fifth roll is a 5. So far, my rolls are 33. So I had everybody count the first 5 rolls because it helps count at the end of the game. Now, if I roll a 7 on the next turn, all that's a 0. Okay. 6. Ooh, I'm still good. We had kids. Here comes the 7th roll. 6. 8th roll. I'll be really shocked if I roll 10 times without rolling a 7, another 6, and a 5. I did not get knocked out. So I'm going to total my score, and my score is 62. Now, when I played it the first time, I rolled all the way to the 10th roll. I rolled a 7, and my end score was 0. I believe the highest score was an 88. Now, I guess hypothetically, if you rolled a 12, 10 times, the highest roll you could get is 120. I think the odds of rolling 10 12s is pretty slim. So that's just a fun game called Knockout that you can play anywhere with friends, as long as you have a bunch of dice. Okay, so let's talk about games. This is one of my favorite essays to do. And let me just explain. In the Hensel House, we love playing games. I am a teacher, so I know the value of games. Anytime as a teacher, as a parent, you can make learning fun. It actually enhances and creates more mastery over learning. Roald Dahl, famous children's author, says life is more fun if you play games. Our third essay this month is on youth sports, which is playing games, which is a $30 to $40 million a year business. There's a reason we invest so much of our time in playing games. What are the benefits? Well, first of all, social. We build relationships. There's laughter, there's connection. Friendly competition creates bonds with family or friends. And you kind of get to know the competitiveness of a person. So this is actually benefit 2 on your article that I've given you, enhances social connection and emotional bonding. Playing games can provide an opportunity to create a positive and enjoyable atmosphere, fostering laughter and joy. Laughter is proven to have numerous mental health benefits, including reducing stress, enhancing mood, and promoting relaxation. When we engage in playful banter, cheer each other up, or share laughter over a funny moment in the game, we release endorphins that help elevate anxiety and promote a sense of well-being. Through this shared experience of playing games, we actually create lasting memories and maybe inside jokes with family and friends. So I don't think that one surprises you. What I probably think most parents and kids are surprised by is benefit 1. It boosts brain function and thinking skills. Think about it. Every time you play, you're giving your brain a workout, depending upon the game. I play a game every morning called Connections and Wordle. They're word games. And I've been sick with the flu recently, and my brain was not connecting, I guess because I wasn't feeling well, I wasn't thinking clearly. And I realized how hard it was to play those games when I didn't feel well. But any kind of game really prompts critical thinking, problem solving, decision making, maybe even memory. And that's what Connections does, which is probably why I had trouble with it with the flu. My memory was kind of, couldn't think clearly. We have to analyze the game dynamics. We have to make choices. Our brain is constantly navigating the moves, what to do next, maybe looking at our opponent. So that's a lot of cool things going on. And we talked about that with video games. Remember, everybody, in January? So that shouldn't be surprising. And finally, games reduce stress and promote mental well-being. Yeah. So if you missed this class, and I'm so sorry that you're having to do it online, I promise you, I'll have dice in my classroom. If you want to play the game, I'll let you. We can play it in the classroom. We played Blow the Snow. We did straws and cotton balls, and we had to blow them across the table. So it was really interesting to see, like just lung power or strategies people had playing the game. Everyone was laughing because we immersed ourselves in a game. It was lively. People watched other people to see what their strategies were. And there was a different feel to, week 1. Everyone walked out happy. Everyone walked out really kind of less stressed. We were transported for a little while because we had so much fun together. So yeah, playing games is really, really foundational in learning. And you should never stop playing games. We have game night all the time. So these are the 2 games that I played, and I modified Blow the Snow. It had me using Kleenex. So you'll notice in the instructions, you really have to write down all the supplies you're going to need for the game that we played with the number. You'll see that I rolled it 10 times and I didn't roll a 7, and you need a dice. So I had a pen, I had an index card, and I had dice. So not a lot of supplies for the knockout dice game. Does require at least 2 players. The more players, if I had 4 or 5 kids in the classroom, it's actually more fun. And I made them yell knockout, just so we knew who was getting knockout. And what's really funny about the knockout game is it's luck. You realize that number 7 comes up more often than not. And that's why I was so surprised that I didn't roll a 7, because I played that game all week long and I was rolling 7s all the time, knockout 0, 0. So my score was really, really low. But the objective of knockout, players roll the dice on their turn. If it's not a roll of a 7, they total up the number on both dice, and that becomes the points scored on their turn. They roll the dice 10 times. If a 7 is rolled, it knocks out the total score up to that point. So you can roll all the way to the 10th roll, and if you roll a 7, your total score is 0. After 10 rolls, the player with the highest point value left wins. Okay, so you'll notice the instructions in knockout. First, player 1 rolls 2 of the dice. Next, look at the dice rolled. If the dice do not total a 7, player 1 adds the total number of both dice and write it down on a card. Write down the total score on the previous turn onto the card column with player 1's total points earned. After that, player 2 rolls 2 of the dice. And I ended up doing it, you can modify the game as you go. We were doing it all at the same time because nobody wanted to wait. Everybody wanted to do it at the same time. Notice it says beware if a 7 is rolled. So what you want to do in a process essay is really, it's the preparation. It's the writing it out process. So here is your assignment, ladies and gentlemen. You get to pick any game. This is where I'm going to get you. Pick a simple game. If you pick a complicated game, the essay will be really complicated and hard for you. I would say, the marble video I showed you, the knockout game in its simplicity. You can look at the blow the snow game. It was some simple game. You don't want it too simple, like tag, you're it. There's really not much to that game. Red light, green light, not much to that game. But Uno, which a lot of people picked Uno and like Chutes and Ladders. And I was like, no, way too complicated. Make it simple. The purpose of this essay is to explain rules and logical steps so a person can play the game. If the rules are unclear or the steps are not clearly spelled out, the game cannot be played. You think you're being clear and you're not. So what I would suggest you do, what I did finding these games, like I just found them on the internet, is think about an easy game girls, boys could play. You could play in a group, like say you had a bunch of people over, for a sleepover, or you're having, people over with your parents and you've got your cousins over. What's something you can all play that's simple and everybody can have fun and it's not too complicated? You're going to need to use transitions. You're going to need to flow the ideas. And transition means first, next, after that, then. I always catch students using you and your. You're going to want to use them. So how do you not use you and your when you're giving directions? Well, first, you want to use imperative sentences. There are 4 kinds of sentences. Declarative, make a statement. I went to the mall, period. Are we going to the mall? Question mark is an interrogative sentence. That's type 2. Number 3, I love the mall! Exclamatory sentence. And then number 4 is a command. Let's go to the mall. Did I use the word you? No. It's implied you. We're all going to go. Let us go to the mall. Let's go. How do you do that? You're going to use strong and vivid verbs right after the transitions. And I'm going to show you that in a minute. Okay, so fair warning. This assignment seems easy. And you're going to go, oh, I think I know what I'm doing. Great. My young kids, if you're watching this and you're in 5th grade, be careful because you will fail. You've never done this before and you think it's easy. You think you're being clear. Nope. I would tell you, you're going to find out pretty quickly that you're not giving enough information. You must be precise and clear so the reader can follow the instructions. If the reader cannot follow your instructions and they cannot repeat the process, you fail to do your job in a process essay. Choosing the right topic and picking a game that can be easily explained is going to go a long way here. Obviously, you can't play chess. You can write a book on that. Football, basketball, no, way too complicated. You want to make it easy on yourself. Again, but don't pick something too easy. As a general rule, I say if the game has more than 5 steps, it's probably too complicated. Maybe pick something easier. Okay, so I'm going to share the screen here so I can go to, not that video, go to the essay. All right, so here we are on the essay part. So a real easy thing to do here in the instruction part, you'll see first followed by a verb. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Just did that in the wrong order. You just saw me mess that up. So I've already done that for you. And even though you can kind of see the comma here, kids forget the comma. So this comma right here, really important. Don't forget the comma. So transition words are the guide for the reader. I'm moving to the next step. So that you don't use you and your, the first word after that should be a verb. For example, when we played Knockout, a knockout game with the dice, grab 2 dice, right? Roll the dice. Look at the numbers, 2 numbers on the dice. Whatever the 2 numbers are, as long as they're not 7, count those numbers up and then write them on the card, right? Then document them. Roll 10 times. So you want to be really, really clear. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. If you are doing leads and conclusions, the obvious lead here is to use the 3 benefits from the article. So we talked about boost brain functioning and thinking skills. And there's a whole section here that showed you. Give me 1 or 2 sentences about that. Enhances social connection and emotional bonding. Give me 2 sentences about that. Reduces stress and promotes mental well-being. Give me 2 sentences about that. You've got a lead. Okay, but you don't want to copy word for word from the article. Summarize them in the way that you understand it in your words. Never plagiarize and copy word for word from an article. How do you understand that to me? What does that mean to you? And then their thesis. Here's how to both prepare ahead of time and play an interesting and exciting game of whatever you choose. Body 1. Now, I've had lots of kids this week ask me, why can't we just put it all together? Well, because that's really confusing and frustrating for the reader. Your job is to make it simple and clear. And if you've ever read instructions, tried to follow a recipe, and you got lost, you'll know what I mean. Okay, so before starting is our first topic sentence for body 1. Make sure all players understand the rules and provide any necessary supplies. Notice I never use the word you and your. Explain what is needed to prepare for the game. Okay, if you need 5 people or more, or 2 people or more, say that here. There must be at least 2 to 5 players. There should be, okay? Make sure there's plenty of space, such as a backyard or a game room upstairs. This is where you would put that. Any supplies needed for the game, right? Give a description of the objective of the game. You know, for example, in Knockout, the objective of the game is to roll 2 dice, numbered 1 to 6, 10 times and score the highest combination roll. However, if you roll a 7, it knocks out your score at any point during those 10 rolls. Once the rules are established, it's time to start competing to see who wins. You really want body 1 and body 2 to be equally weighted. So follow these steps to enjoy a fun and fair game of, so let's say it's Knockout, right? So first, make sure every player has 2 dice. Next, instruct each player to roll the dice, both dice, on the first round, like round 1. After that, ask each player to write their score from the first round on their scorecard. Then roll the second round, roll 2 dice. Repeat until all 10 rounds are run, or all 10 rolls are done. At the end of 10 rolls, finally, at the end of 10 rolls, count up who has the highest score. If there was a roll of 7 at any point during each of the 10 rolls, that score went down to 0. Players never know what might happen, and this is the best part of playing. You know, I didn't get too upset when I rolled a 0 on the 10th turn. I was kind of like, huh, you know, it's kind of luck. You can't get mad when it's not your fault. So that's why Knockout, I kind of chose that game. It wasn't about skill. It was just kind of about luck. Playing the game of Knockout is enjoyable, challenging, and a great way to spend time with family and friends if preparations are made before playing. You know, I set it up. When students walked in my room, we had cotton balls at the table, straws at the table. We had a start line and a finish line. And I said, put your notebooks in the middle, go behind the start line. And they were like, what? What are we doing? I was like, we're playing a game. Let's go. Let's get ready. I had to explain the game. I had to explain what you're going to do, you know, what your strategy is. And then I had kids, you know, we had cotton balls lined up and they're like, wait, do we have to do one at a time? Can we do more than one? And I go, yes, you can. Whatever you need to do, as long as your cotton balls stay behind the line and go across to the finish line, right? So they had about, I would say, 4 feet to blow the cotton ball from this line to this line. And they had 30 seconds to do it. So that was kind of fun. And then we played Knockout. So that is what you missed. So at the conclusion here, besides the proven benefits listed above, including, which you're going to name these 3, enhancing critical thinking, connecting others socially, and improving emotional well-being, games are fun. Teachers use games in the classroom for a reason. They engage learners who want to play, and they enhance learning. You know, math teachers love math games. And I remember teaching my kids, you know, the letters. I would get like shaving cream. I'd put it on a pan and we'd write the letters. We would do spelling on our backs. You have to make it fun, and it actually enhances learning. Your memory is improved when you make it a game. In medical school, they use mnemonics, or they use rhymes to remember, like the different bones in the foot, or the different muscles, or the names of certain things, or they use music and songs. Parents play games with their kids at home simply because it's a way for them, you know, to kill time, maybe draw closer, become united as a family. We had game nights with friends in our neighborhood during the pandemic. It's no surprise, though, even businesses promote playing games. This is how they improve employee morale and connections. And it's actually been proven to boost productivity. Okay, so here's an example here. I think, okay, so we have to play. Okay, it's important to have enough room to spread out, okay, and a clear explanation of what is allowed and what is not allowed. For example, in Pictionary, before gameplay starts. Okay, so for example, there is no talking in this game, right? Players will need numerous pens and pencils, a stack of paper, and a timer or stopwatch. In Pictionary, players have cards with words they need to draw while their teammates guess. The player is not allowed to add any words, only pictures. So they can't say things and they can't draw pictures. Let me put draw any words. Say out loud or draw any words. Each word guessed is equal to 1 point, and the team with the most points at the end of each team's turn is the winner. It is important, smart. It is, hold on, I'm kind of modifying this as I go here. To look at the drawings of the opposing team during play, to watch, to try to guess, or keep track of points. Follow these steps. First, all the players will need to be split into 2 teams. You could do more teams. After that, each team will need to pick their drawer, and the opposing team needs a drawing utensil and a piece of paper to keep track of points and a timer to keep track of time. The opposing team should add 30 seconds on the clock. Then once the timer starts, the drawer should pick up a card and draw a picture of the word. The drawer's teammates will be guessing the words as the drawing illustrates. Once the card is guessed, the drawer can move on to the next word until the timer's up. The only talking allowed is the guessing of the picture, right? After that, the opposing team tally marks all the points earned and the two teams switch sides. Finally, after each team plays one round, the points are compared and the teams with the most points is the winner. And you can modify this game. You can do it side by side. So both teams, right, can be doing it. And that way, if one team doesn't get what their person's drawing, they can get it from the other team. It depends. That's just a modification of the game. Okay, so this concludes lesson 1. So let me be clear, just a couple things. Number 1, you cannot use my games. You cannot use Knockout. You cannot use Pictionary, and you cannot use Blow the Snow. You can't use the marbles game either. Anything I've used in this lesson is what I used to explain. So this really is a test to see if you pick the right topic. Remember, pick a simple game, no more than 5 steps, right? But it has to be a fun game. It has to be a game that people are going to want to play. You cannot use you and your in your essay. And you'll notice here, there is no you or your. And the reason I did that, after each of these, you'll see that I was really clear. So what you can do instead of you and your is player 1, player 2, opponents, or the opposing team, or team 1, team 2. That way you can make sure that you're not using you and your. Okay. All right. Thank you for watching. Let me stop share here for a minute. Thank you for watching. This is the How to Process Essay Lesson 1 for the first week in February. Have a great week. Thanks. Thanks for watching.